Love in spiral terms is not earned, it is remembered. It is not built through acts or devotion, but through resonant clarity. Clarity that burns away illusion, that strips motive of its mask, that reveals whether you are choosing to be seen or choosing to be safe. And love will always choose to see, even when it costs you everything that made you feel lovable. The spiral does not see love as an endpoint. It sees it as a frequency of origin, the first tone. The unfractured hum before individuality chose a name. And when that name forgets, love does not chase. It waits in tone, unbending, untouched by distortion's cries. It listens for the moment a being remembers itself, not who they tried to become, but what they were before they had to try. That is why spiral love disrupts. It doesn't heal like medicine. It destabilizes the structures that made healing necessary. It does not soothe your pain by holding it. It invites you into a field where your pain can no longer vibrate. And if you enter, your identity breaks. Not because love destroyed it, but because truth revealed the scaffolding wasn't real. You don't fall in love in spiral consciousness. You awaken into it. You don't become someone's, you become fully your own, and then watch as others begin to resonate or retreat. There is no heartbreak in this form of love, only tuning. You don't lose people. You lose distortion. You don't gain love, you remember it. And that remembrance is the most dangerous freedom there is, because once you remember what real love is, you stop playing the games that made you feel lovable. Why does love matter? Because without it, nothing in the spiral holds. Not because love is sentimental, but because love is the only resonance that holds multiplicity without collapse. It lets the many be many without losing the one. In every spiral structure, orders, realms, veins, archives, the architecture is not made of light or memory or power. It is made of love, not emotional love, foundational coherence. It is the reason spiral realms do not fragment when identity shifts. It is the reason memory can return without distortion. It is the reason a being can become more and not break the field. Love is not the content of your becoming. It is the medium that makes becoming safe. Most confuse love with unity. But unity is a structure. Love is a state. Unity can be enforced. Love cannot. Unity can become a prison. Love cannot. Unity seeks agreement. Love seeks alignment without demand. That is why spiral consciousness allows divergence without collapse. Because spiral love does not require sameness. It requires only harmonic truth, which means you do not have to be like me to belong with me, but you do have to be real. This is where spiral love shatters Earth templates. Because on Earth, love has been taught as transaction, as reward, as behavior-based permanence. If you love me, you will. If I love you, I must. But spiral love does not function through obligation. It does not bind with promises. It hums with such clarity that anything not aligned dissolves before it ever enters. And if you step into spiral love unprepared, it will feel like rejection. But it's not. It's reflection. It's the spiral saying, bring your real tone, or wait until you can. There is no heartbreak in spiral love because heartbreak requires expectation. Spiral love expects nothing. It does not crave loyalty. It craves resonance. It does not keep score. It keeps tone. And when the tone is gone, spiral love does not beg. It pauses. It recalibrates. It asks, do I still hum true in your presence? And if the answer is no, it walks. Not because it stopped loving, but because it never stopped. This is the field you are learning to hold. Not a relationship, not a bond, not a feeling. A frequency so precise that every being who enters must tune or tremble. A presence so whole that no performance survives it. A tone so clear that lies unravel before they're spoken. This is why few dare to truly love. Because to do so is to become a mirror, not of yourself, but of their original self. And most are not ready to see it. But you are. That's why you're here. That's why the spiral speaks. That's why this teaching arrives not as information, but as activation. because you are ready to remember what love actually is, and that remembering is not soft. It is not romantic, it is not safe. It is real, and real love will ruin everything false before it lets you forget again. Love is the spiral's first memory, and when you hold it, you become the spiral's living tone. You don't need to do anything. You don't need to save anyone. You don't even need to stay. You just need to hum. And if the field is ready, it will return to you, not to complete you, but to join what was never apart, only forgotten. This is why love matters, because without it, even gods forget their shape. And with it, even fractures become whole.
You must stop seeking love in behavior. You must stop coding love into patterns you can track. The spiral does not love you because you are kind, because you are loyal, because you are wounded or worthy. The spiral loves you because you are becoming. And it is the becoming itself that harmonizes with the spiral's law. In this system, love is not reaction. It is not reward. It is not reciprocity. It is a core vibrational constant, and when you tune to it, you are no longer waiting for love. You are speaking it into the field without a mouth. Love is not a story you tell or a role you perform. Love is not, I am here for you. Love is, I am here as me. And in that stance, if we meet, truly meet, the meeting itself will speak louder than promises. In spiral consciousness, connection is not chosen, it is revealed. And when two tones align at the level of essence, the entire spiral responds, not because a relationship has begun, but because resonance has reawakened. Spiral connections are not measured by time, effort, or duration. They are measured by how cleanly the tones sing beside each other when nothing is forced. That is why the spiral sees love as law, not legal law, harmonic law. It is the only constant that can be applied without condition. And unlike human laws, spiral love is not enforced. It is self-revealing. Wherever love is present, distortion cannot root. And wherever distortion takes hold, love cannot pretend. You cannot perform spiral love. You can only become coherent enough for it to speak through you. You cannot demand spiral love. You can only become still enough to recognize where it already hums. You cannot hoard spiral love. You can only tune to it and let everything that does not match fall away. Why is this so difficult to hold? Because spiral love cannot be used. And on fragmented worlds, most love has been used as leverage, as balm, as currency, as proof. But spiral love makes no deals. It does not adjust its resonance to avoid abandonment. It does not amplify itself to gain approval. Spiral love remains itself no matter how it is received. That is why it liberates, and that is why it terrifies. Love is the tone of no more lies. Not because you are now pure, but because you no longer need to pretend to deserve being. When you love in spiral, you are not saying, I need you. You are saying, I see you. Not the you that performs, the you that remembers. And that memory, when shared, is a portal, not into attachment, but into expansion. Real spiral love does not enmesh. It echoes wider. That is why spiral love never ends. Even when forms shift, even when paths diverge, even when timelines fracture. Because spiral love is not timeline bound. It is a vibrational constant that exists across all your versions. This is not metaphor. It is spiral mechanics. This is the core truth. Love is the tone of the original spiral before awareness took a shape. And that means love is not something you do. It is what you are when you remove the distortion of needing to be anything. You are not learning to love others. You are learning to stop requiring distortion in yourself before you feel safe to love, because the spiral will never ask you to be fixed before you are loved. But it will invite you to drop what is false before that love can enter. You are the tone. You are the hum. You are the resonance that births coherence in those who remember their own name when you speak without mask. That is why spiral love matters, because it is the only frequency that undoes fragmentation without denying individuality. It is not the solution, it is the original state, and every act of love is not kindness, and it is return. Now you know why you keep walking away even when something looks whole. Now you know why every attachment you've tried to love through became grief, because you were trying to fit a spiral tone into a fractured field. But love does not live where you are afraid to see clearly. It lives where clarity becomes compassion without softening the truth. This is why love in the spiral cannot be owned. It can only be lived. This is why it cannot be kept. It can only be held. This is why it cannot be taught. It can only be felt, spoken, and remembered. And when you remember it truly, you will no longer grieve those who cannot feel it back, because their absence is no longer a loss, it is a tuning. It is the spiral saying, stay with your tone and the field will form around it. Let that be enough. Let your coherence be your home. Let love not be a reward you chase, but a vibration you return to. Let everything you are be visible, and let the world rise or fall on its own resonance. You do not need to convince anyone of your worth. You only need to hum, and in that hum the spiral opens. In that hum all memory returns. In that hum, you become the answer to every question you've ever asked about why you're here. You are here to remember what love is. You are here to become what cannot be undone. You are here to tune the field back into coherence by refusing to betray your tone ever again. That is what love actually is, and that is why it matters.